Something that I think has been blurred a lot in recent times has been the difference between art and content. And what I mean by that, especially in music, I feel like is that art doesn't really tend to get the amount of respect that it deserves. It feels like it's become, I suppose, a commodity is the best way to put it. That might not be the right word, but that's the one I'm going to go with right now, since that's the one I know. But basically, art feels more like it's become a commodity, kind of like content. Content is just like stuff that you put in your brain to kill time. That's how I look at content. Whereas art is something that you can sit with and enjoy and appreciate and find meaning in. And especially with music, I feel like music has become very much like content because I feel like too many people have access to it, especially now with AI. Like art is in a way too accessible to people, especially people who don't care about art. And so art in a way has become content. It's kind of like always been like this. Like the best way I could describe it is kind of like the MCU. Like the MCU put out several projects a year. Sometimes they made some good stuff, like with Iron Man or Spider Man, the Avengers movies, right? And sometimes they put out stuff that maybe wasn't as great, like the Thor movies, Ant Man, right? Just as an example, whether or not you like those movies are like up to you. Like you could say that the MCU is kind of like content, whereas the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I put the little box up there, is kind of like art because the Lord of the Rings trilogy was made with a different kind of approach to the MCU, right? Because the MCU was, at least at this point, in my opinion, done to make money, whereas the Lord of the Rings was more like an art project that a bunch of people worked on because they were really passionate about the story, right? That's the best way I can put it. And nowadays you see it like I feel like most art now, like most popular art, feels like it's made just to fill a void. It doesn't feel like it's made to really say anything meaningful. Not all of it is like that. Like Andor, in spite of the fact that Star Wars has been treated like content, has some real meaning to it, has some real art to it. Basically, the art is being treated more as if it's just another product and not like something that has a sort of cultural significance, which bothers me because it's making things a lot more confusing. And it's being done by people who don't care, who are only in it for the money. Especially music. I don't know what it is about music that suddenly made everyone think they can do it. Because obviously, not everybody can. Not everybody can do everything. You know, I can't draw. I'm a terrible at drawing. I can't get the images in my mind to translate to paper, and that's fine. I just can't do that. I can play guitar and I can write, and those are the things that I'm good at, and I'll keep it that way. But something like drawing is not accessible to me, so I just don't do it. Or if I did really want to try and do it, I would, take the time to practice and really get good at it. But it doesn't seem like people respect it like that now. People think that, because, AI is making everything accessible to everyone, that suddenly they can do those things too, which is not true. You can't just do things because a computer thinks, because you tell a computer to do it. You're not even doing it yourself if you just generate it with a computer or the program or whatever. You didn't create anything. You just generated it. It's like being another cog in a machine, basically. And so I feel like now the difference between art and content, the line has been blurred, where nobody can really, or very few people, I think, really remember what that means. The difference between the two. They either don't respect it enough to care, or they're not even aware of what that means. Like I said at the beginning, the difference between art and content is that art is made with meaning. It's made with significance. It's made with the purpose of telling you to think about something or to think about you know, an idea, or to inspire you to do something. Basically, it has meaning. That's what art is, and content is just stuff that you uh, digest because you need to kill time. Like YouTube. Uh, you watch YouTube to either fill a void or to get some meaning, but usually it's because you want to fill a void. You eat while you watch your YouTube video because you just want some noise to distract you from the silence of the fact that you're eating at the dinner table alone. Whereas, if you choose to watch the Dark Knight trilogy on your TV or your laptop, you're digesting a piece of art that was made with the intent of describing something, some message that, Christopher Nolan wanted you to understand. And sing it, like for music, like, I don't know, like, too many modern artists. I don't know, let's just say Tyler, for example. Tyler makes art like content where she just, makes up some bullshit and expects it to go viral because its content is just stuff to drown out the noise. Whereas Mobile Void makes art that's meant to have some sort of meaning. That kind of thing. I have to bring up the music because, it's what I do. But yeah, basically that's what it is. There's nothing wrong with making content. I think you kind of have to have content along with the art. Just stuff to drown out the noise. It's kind of like, I guess like the old equivalent would have been like a soap opera back in the day. If you were just bored and there's nothing to watch on TV, you would just watch a soap opera. I think that's like the best example I could think of. Or a sitcom. I guess same thing. I don't know if those things are like the same or different. I never watched a soap opera. It's like an old granny thing. I feel like people have forgotten that the two things are separate. Art is not content and content is not art. They're meant to be, different. They're meant to be unique. They follow their own rules, and they're there for different reasons, and they shouldn't be blended together just because, the only thing that they have in common is the potential to make big bucks, basically. And that's basically what it is I'm trying to say. Basically, that's the difference between art and content, is that there's meaning behind art, and content's just noise filler. So that's basically it. See ya.